Morning. Pretty lucky, eh? When do you have to tell yourself to deny your luck? Jeff. Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too. I have a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be grateful for, and so much of it is the gratitude I have for you. And so I'd like to share why or how. I guess I really heard you at some point about not resisting thoughts or feelings and really being open to meeting them. And so it was about 12 years ago that my dad died. And when I went to the funeral home, there was all kinds of emotions showing up, all kinds of fear, especially. I was going to be giving a eulogy, and all kinds of emotions showed up, and all kinds of thoughts about the past, negative things where he had beaten me, and good times because he was a jokester, and appreciation for him in that he really provided for me and my brothers. And there was a lot of crying, and a lot of grieving, a lot of sadness. And yet I wasn't resisting any of it, just totally opening to it. And so that was just passing through. And at some point there was a recognition that I'm resting in this peace and this love. It was extraordinary, throughout the whole proceedings, everything, going to the cemetery and everything. And then 7 years ago, my mom died. Very similar situation. Again, I was just open to really taking in whatever emotions were there, whatever was happening with me and my brothers. And there was again, there was this peace. There's just this peace and this love that's just unconditional. And it was there during all the crying and the grieving. I mean, people from the outside may have thought I was in pain. I wasn't suffering whatsoever. It's like, wow, it's amazing. and I remember reporting this to you and Eli at the 3-year retreat at Ojai, that I experienced for the first time with that there was just like this loss. Like I felt like there was this loss or emptiness that extended from my whole body all the way down my legs, like part of the front of my body was gone or something. It's really extraordinary. And I wasn't fighting that either. Just let that be there. It's like, wow. And then 3.5 years ago, I had an experience. One evening I was experiencing some pain in here, and so I didn't know exactly what that was. I knew I had kidney stones, but I'd never had an attack or anything. But I was starting to experience some pain that ran from here down into my groin area, and it began to get more and more excruciating. And I thought, okay, I'll let that be here. Maybe there's just something, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I just need to lie down or whatever. And so I laid down, and the pain wasn't going away. In fact, it was increasing. And so, okay, I just let these thoughts be here, let this fear. All right, what should I do? Oh, I'll go to the internet and see the symptoms, for a kidney stone attack. All right, well, I had all of them. It was clear. And so then, okay, so what do I do now? And so there's really just resting in this space of finding out what am I going to do in this moment. Should I go to the ER? Yep, I should go to the ER. All right, so the next step is, well, should I drive or should I call 911? I can drive. All right, so I'll drive. So I got in the car, and I was driving. About halfway there, I said, this might have been a mistake, because I just started writhing in pain, and the pain was, you know, you go to the doctor's office and you see on the pain scale 0 to 10, right? This was a 9, I figured, because if I had 10, I probably would have passed out. It was that kind of excruciating. So I'm halfway to the hospital, and I decided I'm going to call 911 and let them know to contact the hospital, the ER, to let them know that I'm going to be there. And they said, well, we won't do that. They'll know what to do when you get there. But if you need for us to come get you along the road, why, they'd be happy to do that. I said, well, thanks a lot. So I finally get to the ER, and I could hardly get out of the car. I was in such pain, and I could hardly walk to the door. And of course, when you go in, then you have these papers you have to fill out. so I, okay, just, all right, so I'll just let that be like that. I'll do it. So I'll sign out the stuff. And at one point, I couldn't do it anymore. I had to go down on one knee, and I was trying to still. And I couldn't. I said, I can't do anymore. And so they took me back to the room, and the nurse came to help me out. And she said, we'll give you some painkiller here to help relieve. And this first one might not work. And she was right. It didn't work. There was just this continual writhing in pain. I couldn't stop the body from doing, and there was this groaning. And it's like, I even tried to stop the groaning, but I said, hey, I can't stop it. It just seems to be part of what's going on here. This is what the body's doing. I wasn't resisting any of this, any of the pain or anything. So it's just what it's doing. It's doing what it's doing. And I'm there in the bed, and you intravenous a little bit of the first round of painkillers, which, like I say, didn't work. And then they gave me some more. And there was a little bit, it like took the edge off a little bit, but really not that much. There was still a lot of pain. And so there was, at one moment, there was some fear that came up about, I could die here because I have atrial fibrillation, which is, it's paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, which means that it shows up periodically and it's not continuous. So, but a thought came up that, I could die here. And it's like, oh. So I let that be here. And then there was this thought of, well, the impact that could have on my grandkids or my kids or their spouses, that, that the pain that would cause them. That seemed to cause me more pain and added to the whole scenario that was happening. But I just opened to that too, and it's like, well, I'm willing to die here if that's what it takes. I mean, if that's what happens. It's out of the realm of my having any control over the situation, other than that it was continual surrender. And at some point I recognized that there was this, when I wasn't resisting, again, there was this space, this peace. Just, it was a little bit. And a little bit of the love that the nurse was trying to help me and the doctors, they were trying to help me. And I really checked to see, because that peace was just so slight, but I really checked, and it was enough. It was really enough, because I compared that to other moments when there's this utter deep peace and there's no mind activity and all that. But this was, it was enough. It was really enough. And so I'm very grateful. But you know what? So those are kind of extraordinary events that happen. And what I found was, where I would tend to get caught was sort of in the mundaneness of life. And so I had heard you say that there really was no practice, but I kind of questioned that. And I remember it was at a weekend retreat down in North Carolina. And so I was paying really close attention to how you work with people. And for me, there was some, I don't know, distillation of a kind. And what I came up with out of that was a practice of simply consciously allowing, in the moment, consciously allowing whatever thoughts, whatever emotions are here, or bodily pains, without any expectations, without following thoughts. And what's revealed is this nothingness, this space. And so I really took that on as a practice. And I saw that work was one of the places where I was tended to be unconscious. I would sit at the PC all day long, you know. And so I remember recognizing that that was a place where I was unconscious and that I really wanted to be more conscious there. And so I actually did kind of a visualization for myself so that the next day when I go there, when I sit at the PC, what I want to bring to that is consciousness, who I really am. And it worked. And I found then that there was more and more of surrender, because allowing is it's a form of surrender.
It is surrender.
It's a very subtle form of surrender, and just to let it be, or whatever the phrase, and I've used different phrases that seem to have worked. And I just saw that in any given moment, whenever I realized that I'm caught, and that was another thing I saw, that I didn't really do that, that was grace. Mm-hmm. It was grace that said, look, you're caught in your anger, you're caught in your fear. And so then I began to see that was a choice point then. So that I could begin to follow those thoughts or not to follow those thoughts. That was the choice. And so I began practicing that more and more frequently during the day. And there was a point at which I began to realize that the deliciousness of this nothingness, this space, more and more. And so there was a natural kind of invitation that came out of that for myself to begin to do that more and more. So it was like a light switch. Turn the light switch on, so it's kind of slow like this. And after a while, my practice was to surrender more and more frequently. So at one point I was going to surrender, and it's like, what am I surrendering for? It's just a shift of attention then. So the practice was working, so that was just a shift of attention. And that's how my life is now. No matter where I am. You know, whether I'm toddler sitting my grandkids, or being with my kids, or at the grocery store, doing the most mundane things, brushing my teeth. At any time, there's just this shift of attention. And every now and then there's something that's like just contemplating coming up here. There's fear, the old natural stuff of fear, but like fear can be here.
Yeah, the trigger appears.
The trigger appears. That which is, run this machine for practically my whole life, but doesn't run my machine now.
It doesn't run this machine
No,
now.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
So good.
It doesn't. So the gratitude that I have for you it's immense. That somehow you came into my life, and somehow I paid attention.
Grace.
Grace.
And you responded. Your own body-mind lined up behind that.
Yes.
So great you use the word practice. How wonderful that you didn't just take no practice as the rule.
Right.
That you discover surrender is vigilance, is being true.
It's life-changing.
Yes.
It's, in a sense, I mean, it's life-changing and it's not, because there's still this these mechanical
Yeah.
operations that are,
The human
here,
being is present.
but it's just like it doesn't.
The war is over.
The war is over. Really, the war is over. There's no problems really. I mean, there's problems that show up, but they're not really problems from this place of being.
That's
It's
right.
just-
They're not worth going to war over.
yeah, that's right.
And this is the promise for humanity. Whether enough of humanity will get it so it actually shifts, I don't know, but you can get it.
Yes.
You hear this, you see this witness, and it's one of the most important things to me that you said, besides the extraordinary events of the shocks, is that this is day-to-day life.
Yes.
This is day-to-day life. And it's not practice the way we have thought of practice, which is, okay, it's time to do my practice. It's living it.
Yes.
It's living it. Rehearsal is over.
And it's living it, and it's letting it live me.
Letting it live you is more accurate. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That's a much better way of
More
saying
and
it.
more. More and more. So, it's interesting because now I feel like I'm more and more fully human, and at the same time more and more free of it.
That's right.
It's such a paradox.
Isn't that
but
a
it's the
sweet
utter
paradox?
truth.
Yeah, that's right. You thought you'd escape being human, huh? You just stop the war with your humanity.
Yeah.
The war with your pain. The war with your circumstances. The war with your past. The war with the weather. I mean, the war is amazing. The war with somebody taking your place in line. Not that it doesn't trigger things. Yeah, it triggers things.
Yeah.
Because we are warlike creatures. We have been since, if you saw 2001, you know how it happened. We picked up a club, and then our evolvement started as these creatures that took over the planet. So that's in there. But we are conscious creatures. And that's the good news. I'm so happy to hear this and for you to give this to everyone.
And I'm just so appreciative of everyone who's here. They're here for the same reason,
Yeah.
And to the delight that my daughter is here, it's like, it's like there's something, it seems to be a little extra special.
Yeah, it is a little extra special.
About family showing up, because there's still like a longing for, the family members to wake up, to have some really intimate communication, some really intimate
You want them to
being
live.
with one another.
You want them to be happy. And it's rare. And that's the specialness of it. It's really quite rare.
Thank you, my sunshine. Thank you so much.
So happy, so happy. This is really the thanks. Giving one's life to
This is
that
it.
which lives it.
There's really nothing else to do, as far as I'm concerned. It's worth
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
This is it.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.